Hi, this is Franz Nikolai, and you're listening to the Hoodrat Recap Podcast.
First it feels like a prick and then it hits you like a trouble chin. And heaven is a place you can never find your cigarettes.
We don't have time for that, guys. This is a Flashcast. Kevin, take us away.
Yes, we had a great conversation for all the people in the scene that were in Boston this past weekend. I heard it was a great show. I could not make it. Gasper could not make it. But Mike the Psycho flew in for one day, dragged his girlfriend to
One night only.
Literally one night only. Was going to sleep on a bench, but thankfully his girlfriend went, so he had to get a hotel room. Mark from Minneapolis joined us, who had a much better account and was there for 2 nights. And guys, if you were there for all of it, and we want to hear from you. Get us a speak pipe so Mike will be happy. Send us a message. Want to hear what you thought. But we got a great show talking about Boston.
Yeah, and I should say Andrew from Australia was there, and we were trying to get him to join us today. I kind of screwed up the invite, but Andrew from Australia was there, and I think he was doing some of his racing stuff, but it was great to see Andrew.
Yeah, well, we should definitely have Andrew on a future show. And speaking of future shows, we have a great one coming up that we want to make sure that you guys check out. Our next long-form episode is going to be an interview with Tad Kubler. He's agreed to come on and talk about his new EP, Casanova Complex, which we talked about a few episodes back. It's an awesome collection of songs, and we're excited to talk to him about that. But why don't we get into what we're here about? Let's jump into this Flashcast. What do you guys think?
Let's do it.
Scene report.
Mark from Minny is back from Boston. We had 4 crazy nights in Boston. You heard 4 Boston coming in here. Mark, I want to talk to you all about Boston, but you just laid these 10 commandments down on us. Please explain the 10 commandments to us.
So really happy to be on the podcast with you guys. I listen all the time. A big fan. Always hear the references to some of the crew. You know, GA shows are where I live. Even if it's a band I like, if it's a seated show, I'm probably not going. But then you have to interact, right? Like our scene, you have to interact with everyone else that's at the show. And my friends came up with 10 commandments of GA shows. So it's the rules you live by. It's the rules of engagement. And they are somewhat common sense. But when you go into particulars, I can list them off for you guys, and then I'd like to have each one of you comment about it as we go.
Sure.
So rule number 1, you buy your ticket, you get your 4 square feet. You're entitled to that space. But there's a moral imperative. You got to move forward. So you get your space, you move forward. You ever notice that in the back of the room, it's way more crowded than in the front of the room?
Sure.
You got to close the gap ahead of you.
I totally get it. I will say 4 square feet seems a lot.
That's a lot.
I was going to say,
You know
that
how much-
seems generous at a whole steady.
Right. But I get the sentiment of like, you get some personal space.
A 2 by 2
I
by
totally
2.
get that.
Just 2 by
All right.
2 by 2.
All right.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
That's
So-
better.
That's probably 4
So-
square feet. Yeah. Okay.
You move forward. So if you have, some people like to have a gap in front of them because they just want it. Somebody gets to move in there. If they can move in there without literally pushing you out of the way,
I'm for that. Yeah.
you know,
And that you usually run the risk of that happening if you leave that open. So I agree with you
exactly.
there.
Fair game. It's 4 square feet open. It's fair game. Number 3, don't be a last minute barrier crasher.
Howard. Howard. Sorry, I had
that's
something in
the
my
Howard
throat
rule.
there, guys. Something in my throat.
I told you about those springtime allergies, Mike.
I know.
They're going to get you in trouble on this show.
I didn't take my
You
medication.
need to take a Claritin.
I didn't take my Claritin. I didn't take my medication. It's totally on me.
But I do like the caveats you put there. So joining friends who are holding a spot for you is okay.
Yeah, and everyone at the Hold Steady shows are friends, so it sort of makes it like sort of a loose rule, but I am
Right.
completely in agreement with that.
But everyone's been that guy who like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and like you run and you come back and it's like you're there and often it happens like I'm with my wife. Like I expect to go stand next to my wife again.
Yeah. So that's in number 4, right? If you leave your spot to get a drink or use the bathroom, you get to come back to your spot.
I like
Right.
that.
Now, there's a trick to that I found is what you want to do is come back with multiple drinks, because if you're the guy who's holding like 3 to 4 beers and you hold them up high, like no one wants to be spilled on. So people will get the fuck out of your way. That's the tactic.
And if you have one extra beer, you could tip off the guy who's going to have to take 2 steps because he filled in the gap. But
Right.
if you tip him off with a beer, he's going to give you back your
Now that's the Howard tactic.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we've
Howard.
seen that happen. That is how that works. Again, your allergies, Mike, killing you today.
Well, the other one that helps with getting back there, I find, if you wear something unique in the way of a shirt, and when you're going out, you make eye contact with people and just kind of like, then they see you coming back. Go back in the same
Right.
way you came out. Maybe they let you by. Okay, so then this is the other thing about GA
Love
shows. There's gonna be some incidental contact. We're all in it together. People that
Right.
go in there are like, you don't want to get touched or bumped into or anything. Even some shows, there's a little bit of, certainly at Hold Steady shows, there's some contact that goes on. It'll happen.
The people touching people that they don't even know.
Yo. So, Martin, do you think that? I think the Midwest, you get your feet stepped on a lot more, and then in New York, I think everyone's afraid somebody's going to go Joe Pesci on you. So, do you find that too? Do you think you get more room in New York than you do in the Midwest, or?
I think it depends on the venue and the band.
I also think for the Hold Steady, like just looking at massive nights, it depends on the night. I feel like you have
That's
better
true.
luck with space on a Wednesday night than you do on a Saturday night. So the
Right.
day of the show, especially in the residencies, has a big effect on how much these commandments are going to get broken at any given time.
Right.
So number 6 is no unwanted moshing, right? I mean, moshing is good. If you go to a punk show, other people are moshing, you expect to be involved. Frank Turner does a good job of this, and he says, look, in certain areas of the room, there's going to be guys that are doing that, or ladies, and then there's other areas where kind of gravitate to your tribe a little bit. But when everybody's just crowded in and singing along, and there's 1 or 2 guys, and we had this actually broken on Friday night, there was some real heavy chucking going on. And what happens is then you're bumping into people that are not expecting to be bumped into, and forcefully. And if it's a lady and she's with a guy, this is what happened on Friday night. Guy was stepping up, guys that were really having fun. They're just trying to have fun, but there was way too much lateral movement. You can go up and down pretty vigorously and not offend people, but when you go side to side, it's a problem.
Yeah, I like what you said. I'm okay with a mosh zone as long as it doesn't keep breaking out in other areas. So if there's a moshing zone that you can go into willingly, and then you can leave it willingly, I'm okay with that. But you're right. If it's just 2 guys just start doing it out of nowhere, then.
Now, as a bigger guy, do you find that like when you're in that position and the mosh pit breaks out and the smaller, maybe females in front of you, like do you find yourself responsible to hold the mosh pit back from crushing the small?
I try to make myself a human shield. I mean, I've done some mosh pit
Right.
human shielding before. Yeah.
It's not fun.
See, but moshing should never break out, because by moshing in Rule 6, you're already breaking Rule 1. You only get a 2x2x2 square, and you can't mosh in a 2x2x2 square. That's what
Right.
we've already established. So by moshing, you're breaking the command.
I knew
So
Kevin was going to like these
just don't
commandments.
mosh it. Don't. I'm into this. Like,
I mean, inappropriate moshing has been around forever. Like I distinctly remember in the early 90s being at a Jewel show at Irving Plaza, and there was a mosh pit, and I'm like, it's Jewel, man. Like there's no moshing to Jewel.
but you don't realize the aggression that "you were meant for me" brings out of people. So
I
if I
don't.
got to
You're
sit there
right.
and hear that too, like I might want to throw an elbow.
Yeah.
So I give it that over a Hold Steady show.
I think you gotta, it is a function of reading the room, right? And
Yeah.
so depending on the band and the show, I've been in those pits and had fun. But once again, back to your other rules, as you were mentioning, you can't be Rule number 7: if you accidentally pog into someone 3 times, you're out of line. Like you can bump into somebody once, you're pogging,
3
having
strikes.
fun or whatever. If you say sorry, you apologize. But once you got to control yourself enough to avoid accidental contact with other people for sure.
The 3-strike rule. I like that.
3 strikes and you're out. There you go.
Here's one of my favorites. We were talking about this before we got on started recording. No extended conversations.
Oh,
I concur.
Mm-hmm.
oh.
There's nothing worse than conversation, especially at a Hold Steady show, because there are points where Craig just likes to address the audience and talk, like in between songs and whatnot. And the guy next to you will be talking to his friend about the 7 beers he wants to go buy, and it just ruins you trying to hear what's going on. So it's almost as bad as a movie theater. There's a lot of shushing at a Hold Steady show, probably more than other concerts, but
Right.
I've noticed it, especially at massive nights. There is a lot of extraneous shushes.
But the problem exists at a lot of shows. The story I told before we got on is Heather and I had gone to see Spanish Love Songs, and there was a couple there who clearly did not know who Spanish Love Songs were and must have thought it was in the literal sense, because this guy's there with his girl and she's telling him a story in Spanish at the top of her lungs through the whole set. And it's like, can you guys go to the bar, man? Like, you're clearly not into the band, and you're ruining it for everybody.
It's okay. I can't imagine hearing somebody be able to talk at a Spanish Love Song, but it's a show. But okay.
I mean, and I haven't personally seen Spanish Love Songs, but they might have made the show better by talking. I'm not going to throw that out there. Just going to say, you've dragged me to some real crappy shows in the history of us, Gasper. So that might have been one where the talking would have been better. But in a Hold Steady set, it doesn't work.
I'm here to say Spanish Love Songs puts on one of the best shows you'll ever see.
Well, and to bring it full circle, 2 years ago at Massive Nights was the one time I was in a big mosh circle where, I was in row 3, and then I was in row 18, and then I was back in row 4, and then I was back in row 6. And the kid that started it was wearing a Spanish Love Songs tour shirt. So
it's probably the most violated of the 10 Commandments. Almost, right? I mean,
true.
It is. I
love these rules.
And you hear people literally just, if you're having a conversation, you're clearly not listening to the band. And it's so much different than when somebody next to you is singing, even if they're,
off key,
a bad singer like me. Number 9 is read the room. It kind of goes, what Frank Turner's 2 rules: don't be a dick, right? It's rule number 1. Rule number 2, if you know the words, you got to sing along. So sing along with others is fine. If you had a really good voice, you'd be on stage, right? So
that's a hard. I'm gonna say I'm guilty of breaking that rule plenty of times.
all the time. There's times I don't know what Craig's saying because I hear the Gasper version, and a lot of times the Gasper version's right, but every now and then he has a clunker, which is really the highlight for me, when he has a clunker, and then I'm like, that's not the lyric.
I will say this: I get the lyrics right more often than Craig does.
We had a little bit of that this weekend.
And then number 10, really, that's just for life. That shouldn't even be at a show in GA. That should be for elevators. That should be in restaurants. That should be in a taxi.
Number 10 is in stone. No flatulence.
Mm-hmm.
We're all crammed in together here. It's a captive audience. We can't move.
Now, I do understand that sometimes when you drink too much, like, you do get bubble guts and things can escape. But if you know that's the case, then you should really limit how much alcohol you intake for the good of those around you.
So, Kev, before you got on, we were talking about this. It's like you are talking about a mostly male, very large male crowd drinking for 4 days, eating like crap for 4 days. I get it. But this also came up in a text group from this weekend where they were discussing this particular problem in Boston. And Tad had weighed in on it in a conversation with Lacey, I believe, and Kat, which I'm kind of looking forward to asking him about. Because he goes, we smell it on stage too. He goes, you go to lean into the mic to sing the next line and it's mouthful of fart.
Hey, I just want to, maybe I had some bad chowder. Before the show. That's what.
I like it. The 10 Commandments, Mark's 10 Commandments, rules to live by.
I love it. We needed that, Mark.
They are really, I will say though, I would still take a seated show. I've been the guy fighting for the Hold Steady seated show. We've had it many conversations, so I know you're into the GA, but give me a seat. And a lot of these work themselves out. You see that if you can't mosh if there's seats, it makes it easy.
Right.
So it's, if
you
you fart in a seat cushion, it does sometimes get absorbed. I've done it on a plane. Sometimes you let one rip and the cushion gets it, and you're like, you know what? I got through that one. All right.
You could be wrong. How do you know, though? You could be.
I'm just saying it. Like sometimes it does get away from you, but seats do help muffle flatulence. That is a known scientific science.
That's the problem.
No, but even just the smell. Like sometimes it gets in the cushion and no one's really putting their face there. So you're okay for like 5 to 8 minutes and then, physics takes over. You're good. Goes away.
Jeez. Oh, all right. Somebody please start.
All right.
Let's get to night one, please. Let's change the subject.
Sure. So Mark, you were at the Boston residency for how many nights did you go for?
I came in Friday, Saturday. So I saw Mike there on Friday, and he was over on Tad's side, Brad's side. And, it is fun to be literally that side. You look around, and there was how many? I mean, Mike, there was 18 of us that were all, very familiar with each other. It was good.
Yeah. It's amazing how many, like every time you go to a show, like you said, I see 18 to 20 people that you know so well. And you see a lot of new faces too, it always amazes me how many new faces you see too. It's a good combination.
It was a unique weekend. Something about the set list, I think just in general, change is good. And the band knows that a lot of the people that are at the show have been to a lot of shows. So why would we want to see the same show? Right. So they did mix things up.
Yeah, I mean, even I know you weren't at night one, but I'm guessing so. Night one is the album playthrough, kind of like they did here in New York for Separation Sunday. You got all of Boys and Girls in America, and then set two is kind of like the hits, but it was more than the hits. You got a lot of songs that you don't really normally hear. Like you got to dance, and some of the new stuff like Dream Down by the Water. Ascension Blues.
Yeah. Like we said, they played Boys and Girls in America through, except for they put 4 Boston at the 11th spot right before the 12th spot of Southtown Girls. So I think that's really interesting. But the thing is, they're playing Stuck Between Stations. They're playing Chips Ahoy. They're playing Party Pit first night. So then you got to go the whole rest of the set without any of those songs. So I think that really makes for an interesting set. They went to 30 songs total. So they have to go another 18 songs without having any of those, those songs I just mentioned, the big hitters.
And that's a pretty long night, man.
Yeah.
Like you're
30 songs.
30 songs plus 12, that's 42 songs basically over 2 sets is quite a bit, man. So you said you flew in for the May 1st show would be your first show then, right?
Yeah. So Arms and Hearts opens up for Boston was in there, right? And then Same Kooks. 3 nights in a row, Same Kooks got played Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Somewhat fitting, I guess a little surprising that it came in alternate. So it's Boys and Girls in America. We're looking at each other talking about this. The first, Spices, Weekenders, Malachi and Jessica. That was all in the first 14 songs. So it was really cool. It was not a show I had seen before.
Yeah.
Also in the first 14, first night, lanyards. I mean, this is good. I was getting blown away by the deep cuts.
Well, even for Boston in Boston, when we went to Boston, Gasper, they didn't play for Boston.
No, they
Rose
did
walked
not.
out of there and we're like, how do you not play for Boston in Boston? And it was like,
it definitely seemed like a mess.
it's like
it was My White Whale, and I heard it like twice in 2 hours because we haven't talked about the sound check yet, but they played it in the sound check the first time I've ever heard it, and then here it is at song number 4 later in the night. So I got My White Whale twice in a row.
Yeah. And that sound check, I mean, they start off the sound check with Criminal Fingers, which I know came back at not came back, it was played for the first time in the Weekender show this year. But there's been a couple of sets that we'll get into where it's like the leadoff song is not what you would expect it to be, and to get Criminal Fingers as a leadoff song is a pretty cool way to start off the sound check.
Yeah, and it was only 8 songs for the sound checks, and we got Dream Down by the Water, Jupiter, and Cal Expo. So we got 3 brand new songs. 3 out of the 8 were brand new songs. So
I'm still dying to know like what that's going to be because they have not committed to saying it's a record. There's enough songs in there that it seems like it's a record. We've heard them at the Massive Nights soundcheck party.
And then, Mark, I want to know if you agree with me, but man, these new songs are really starting to come together. They're starting to sound good now, like really, really good. Would you agree with me, Mark, or are you still trying to get used to it?
Absolutely. The soundcheck at Massive Nights, they played it straight through. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but to hear them for the first time, and they still are working on the titles, it was just so cool.
And at this point, like these songs are becoming fan favorites, and there's not even a record out. There's not a recorded copy of this. Like, Kev, you could speak to this as, I mean, I think that's pretty unique. I don't think there's another band that's done that.
It's sort of unheard of where you might get one song as a new tune that people will try out early because in the day and age of cell phones and everything, everybody's so worried about substandard versions coming out that people be like, this song sucks. But like,
right,
to them, it's really impressive that they do it. And I've said that all the time. The one thing about the Hold Steady as a band is they tend to write their own rules. So he had a place.
Like you said, I mean, even going back to like the 70s, like there's I forget which song it is. It's a Grateful Dead song that like for years and years and years was the song. It was, it might be called Ashes to Ashes. For years, I didn't know the name of the song because they played it at all the shows, but like it was never on a record. And then eventually it wound up on a record. But like that's happened before. But to have a whole catalog of music that people know and know fairly well at this point and not have it released is pretty amazing.
And when you look at you're going to the soundcheck party early, you're only getting 8 songs. It's almost half the show is put with new stuff. But even like I said, For Boston, which is a song they don't it's not a song they pull out often. So the fact they pull it out 3 times they played it, I think, over the weekend, or 4.
I think it was at least 4, if not more, yeah.
So it's like, that for that weekend, that song is Sequestered in Memphis level. Like they play Sequestered in Memphis every show. Like, so now For Boston is almost the same as Sequestered in Memphis, which is...
They might have got your memo. They might have got your memo, Kevin. Like, how could you not?
Every now and then I put vibes out in the world, and I don't know who gets them, but somebody got that one.
So can I tell my sound check story now?
Sure.
Okay, so we've been talking about it. These shows are getting so expensive. So my girlfriend, she's a flight attendant. So I said, I'm going to fly out for one show, and they're so expensive. So I just was going to go out for one. I was going to go out by myself. I wasn't going to get a hotel room. I was hoping to maybe find an illegal rave so I could get those free bottles of water and get some indoor plumbing. So instead of getting a hotel room, but
going out to raw dog a Hold Steady show, basically.
Yeah, just raw dog it. But no, she came with, so we decided to go. So we were walking through the park. They're looking at the George. We were down there at the Commons looking at the George Washington statue, the only statue where he's on a horse in the whole world. We were down there looking at it, and all of a sudden it's 10 to 4, and she's like, hey, let's go try that sound check. And I was like, maybe somebody has tickets because I didn't, So we just jumped in an Uber. We get down there a little bit after 4. Everybody we know is in line, and they're like, no, you got to have, you're in lanyards, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm in lanyards. And they're like, you just got to have your email. So we're trying to get in there, and I'm like, I didn't RSVP because I thought there's no way in hell I was going to be at this show. So I'd like to thank Tom. My girlfriend jumped in with Tom as his and one, because you get an and one. The bouncer's like, he couldn't find somebody on the list, and he's like just staring at this list. So the other guy goes, oh, give me your ID and I'll give you your armband. So I go over there and he gives me my armband, and I'm already past the guy with the list, and he's still staring at the list. He's still hung up. So I'm like, okay, I'm good here. And I just walked in. So, and my girlfriend was already in. She walked in with Tom, and then she had given me, she's a flight attendant, so she found these big giant Blues Brothers glasses. For some reason I was wearing them, and then I go in and I saw a mosh pit, and I'm like, hey, Mosh, he's had some really cool hats. I'm like, you never have winter hats. And he reaches back behind this thing you can't even see, and he pulls out this winter hat, and he goes, it's only $9. And I was like, oh my God. So I bought that. So I'm easy Ian at the whole show. I got these big black glasses, I got this winter hat pulled all the way down, and and Craig goes,
the world didn't need.
And I was wearing my Wolves shirt, and Craig goes, hey, some guy's wearing a Wolves shirt. I don't know if anybody couldn't recognize me or what, but I was like,
you're incognito.
I was incognito, yeah. But so that was great because my girlfriend's not a Hold Steady fan, and she got to listen to And it wasn't very crowded. You weren't there, Mark. Maybe it was like 70 people there. Maybe not even. It was really sparse. So she got to listen to these 8 songs. Really sparse, and we didn't have to pay for it. So it's good. That's a good thing with lanyards. And but we did get a hotel room, and I Ubered a lot, so it was still kind of expensive. But
So then once you stayed in the room for the sound check, did you just stay for the show, or did you actually have show tickets?
I had show tickets, and I was going to say, well, she could just, but we didn't. I didn't have our earplugs because we weren't planning on being there, and you don't really need the earplugs for the sound check at this one, anyways. So we went back to the room. I Ubered back, so it got a little expensive with the Uber, but then I got to hear 4 Boston twice in a row. So that's my story, and I didn't have to go to an underground rave to get free water.
So to your point, Kev, like that is, I mean, I think that's a thing where like if you're in the room for sound check and you're not leaving, I haven't seen a club clear the room yet. So I could imagine, I mean, it seems to be on the honor system is the way it's been running. So Mike, I did want to ask you, because this is actually a topic that came up between me and Heather. We were discussing like, it's unclear how lanyards worked, because I was under the impression that like you're going to a sound check once a year. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Is it literally like every sound check is free for lanyard members?
I believe so. And they said you just got to RSVP, which I didn't do, but I just, and you get a +1. And I really recommend it because like I said, my girlfriend's not a huge Hold Steady fan, or she doesn't know, and she really enjoyed it because it's just like a little mini concert. So
the sound checks are great.
Yeah, so I think you can just, if you RSVP, I mean, my email doesn't work. I've entered it into lanyards a few times and it's not working. But yeah, if you just RSVP, you're good to go. So I guess is what everyone's saying. Yeah.
That's wild. Because when you think about it, like the sound check goes for what, about $70?
I don't know. Yeah, I think now it seems like it's just all lanyards members at this point. I'm not sure though. Yeah.
She stumbles down the non-stop, she lost her mission, and she lost all her friends.
Located between the Hall of Justice and the Brady Bunch House is the worldwide headquarters of the 70s versus the 80s podcast, where they tackle such controversial subjects as
if you spill Zima on your Zubas, does it even leave a stain?
Which Cher husband had the better Love Boat appearance? What these guys say may shock you.
In your high school yearbook, does your hair even fit in the photo frame? So, Brian, where can you play this podcast?
It's on his phone, Mike.
Okay, so blast this sucker on your flip phone.
No, doesn't work that way. Listen to the 70s versus the 80s podcast, God willing.
All right. And then I left. So, Mark, you got to take us on from night 3 on here.
Yeah, so night 3, another Massachusetts reference Craig mentioned. We're going to do Hostile, Massachusetts, which I love that song. I love that.
Great song. Oh, that's good.
And it doesn't get played very often, right? Stevie Nicks was in the number 5, which is, if you told me I could only hear one Hold Steady song the rest of my life, it would be hard not to choose Stevie Nicks for me.
Ooh.
Because it's got like 4 different parts to it.
Yeah.
And it's a
great song.
7-minute song or whatever it is, 8 minutes. That was really, really good.
Now, one of the rare songs you get that night, and I was trying to remember what record it's from, because it's, when I go on Spotify, it's not on there, and I know I have the song because I have it on an extended version of one of the records. Saddle Shoes, which I thought was called Saddle Shop, because I don't think he says the word Saddle Shoes in the song. Is that a Teeth Dream song, or is that a Stay Positive song?
It's a Teeth Dreams song, and you heard it, Gasper. When they played Teeth Dreams all the way through, it was one of the replacement songs on there.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
I got to go back and look at the set list. It's not one that you get very often, though, for sure.
It's on Bandcamp for that show. Everybody can go listen to it there. Yeah.
And back to the point I was talking about when we started talking about set lists. Once again, it seems like the band is really making a concerted effort to say, we know a lot of these people have seen a lot of shows. I mean, it is a community and it's familiar faces, so let's do something different. And it really makes it worthwhile to have these white whales come out, right? So Cal Expo, Star 18,
There's one you don't get very often.
Yeah, you don't get Star 18 often.
Yeah. I actually haven't heard Star 18 in years.
I've actually seen the movie Star 18 more than I've heard the song. Thank you, Margot Hemingway. Thank you.
Great show, Saturday night. And back to what you were saying, Mike, to my left on the rad side, there was four or five kids that couldn't have been more than 24 years old, and they went bonkers. I don't know if they thought it was their first Hold Steady show or not. I was watching them enjoy the show, and they just had the greatest time. They were singing along with everything, and just looked enthralled. They were right in front of Craig.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I imagine with Stay Positive, you got a Josh appearance.
Yes. Yeah. He's so good at that. Every time I come by.
He is. At this point,
it's a highlight.
The whole thing with it's like, and when you know the song is in the set or like they start it, you're like, you kind of need him. So I'm waiting for the time he doesn't show up, and I'll be like, is he sick? Why isn't he there? Because he's always got to be a part of that set.
Such a great sidekick for the band. He's just so, I really enjoy every time I see him.
He's a great guy, yeah.
Friendly as hell. Yeah, great guy. And I always try to get a little tell from him. I got to see you out there tonight. And he's just so stoic. He won't reply. He just poker face, I try to get a little tell from him because I really want to know. Like you said, Kevin, I want to know when I'm going to see him and hear the song. The other one from Saturday night, Slapped Actress, which I got to admit, it's grown on me. It wasn't.
I love that song. Always did.
Tell me about that, Kevin. Because, it's grown on me. I just think
I'll tell you why. I always say I love it because my first intro to the Hold Steady was Stay Positive. And that to me, I know everybody's going to argue it's Separation Sunday, but like to me, that's their best album, their perfect record, because that's the one I got in on. And so that being from that album always holds a special spot. And even looking like you got Sequestered in Memphis in the encore that night. Like, that's weird. I don't think I've ever seen that, in any of the shows I've been to. Now, they may have done it, but like it's usually 5 or 6 in the night generally, and it's always kind of in the same spot. So the fact that they almost held it back, I think if I would have been at the show, I'd be like, wait, is this the non-Sequestered in Memphis night? Like, is it finally going to happen? And then they sneak it down like right before the show's about to end.
Well, I think it's awesome right before the encore because we get the and it goes on forever. Did it go on forever, Mark, at the show? Or it goes on for quite a while, right?
That's my favorite part of Slapped Actress.
It did, and they delivered kind of the same, but it's certainly another one of those moments, kind of akin to We Are All, right? So the crowd is just eating it up. I'm going to say this about Saturday. I know it's maybe because I was feeling what I was feeling because of the kids. It certainly wasn't from some of the flatulence, but it was one of those shows where. Also, I got a shout out. My son is in Boston, and I said, "Oh, honey, let's go see our boy that weekend." Just so happened, the Hold Steady was in town that weekend. Well, but
funny how that happens.
Coincidence. But I brought his significant other's father. Brought him. He'd been to a Jack White show with me in Boston at the Roadrunner, and loved it. And he's kind of more a Springsteen guy. And I'm like, well, you got to check this band out. So it was on Saturday night. I got we got a newbie, got a first timer, and people were so,
That's probably why so many people were farting around you because they knew there was a first timer. And they're like, we got to break in the father-in-law. And just smell this guy. You like Bruce? Here's some spruce.
Wow. Well, he had a great time. And it was Saturday. It was levitating. It always is, but Saturday was cool.
I mean, look at the set. It's a great set. And I will say, like, even things like Confusion in the Marketplace, I always enjoy. And it's wild to see these songs and the way they put it together. And going back to the Slapped Actress, when they do that Sing Outs part 2, like, I always love, like, part of the band always walks off the stage too, like while everybody's still singing, and like Craig will hang out, like kind of be as the conductor, and like you're like, oh, that's it, encore, here we go, get ready and go pee.
And then if it's a really good crowd, they'll sing them back onto the stage, which is one of my favorite parts.
I mean, Saturday just seemed like a hell of a show, and to their credit, most Saturday nights tend to be the best. Like they know what they're doing when they craft set lists. They really do. I've never. You've never gone to Mess and gone, oh man, that Wednesday was the best show ever. I don't need to go back.
Yeah, looking back on that set list, we can get together. I mean, another song you're not going to come across a whole lot, right?
Yeah. And then
they really are. They're changing up these shows. That's what keeps me coming back. I don't want to see the same residency again and again and again.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. And that Cal Expo at number 8 there, I think that's going to be a big hitter. I think that's going to be an every night song eventually. That sounded really good.
And to your point on that, Mark, like even some of the more conventional stuff that they do, like you could see they're not doing, like First Night is played on the second night, like deep in the set. You know what I mean? So you're not getting that, like, you know, that talk into First Night about how it's the, you know, the first night's the special night like he's done before, where, I mean, that's awesome because it's like he knows we've seen these shows a million times and like they're keeping it fresh. I do appreciate that as well.
And back to Kevin's point that Sequestered goes in the encore, you know, even if it's going to be the same song, we're going to put it in a different order, but it was good. Mm-hmm. It was really good.
Now, I know you guys weren't at the Storyteller show, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the set list because I saw this get posted to the Facebook groups and I'm like, man, I missed a good one.
Were you crying over epaulets?
This one seems incredible. I mean, it's not just epaulets. When you look at it, it's so many songs that, like, to hear it in that way, that Storyteller's way, like that stripped down or different style. I mean, both Crosses and Arms and Hearts and Epaulets and Teenage Liberation, and like you could go down the whole list.
Esther's on almost
Distortions of Faith is on here.
Distortions of Faith was wild. Esther though too.
Right. Esther, like there's a song you never hear. Hanover Camera, I've seen them do it in that style, but it's really awesome because it's so jazzy.
And then it's like Charlemagne and Sweatpants is starting to be their killer parties for these shows. It's starting to be the last song, so it's really amazing. Oh, no Oaks though. It's kind of weird that
I was kind of bummed I didn't see that.
That's on the Storyteller set, and this is the first time I haven't seen Oaks in the Storyteller set.
I kind of appreciate that though. I mean, I love Oaks; it's a great song, but it made its comeback and then just became the song that got played all the time. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they've been playing Oaks almost every time they've played since they've been doing the record store appearances. You know, so like it's good to get.
You didn't miss $40, so you know what? There was no $40 for you to cry over.
Mark, whenever I go to a show, I enjoy seeing you because you tell me how good the sound is at that show. What did you think of the sound at the Sinclair? I'm really interested to hear your answer here.
So I'd had a chance to see previous shows at Sinclair, and I love the room.
I thought it sounded amazing.
I think it's a great room, and they do a good job there. I mean, they've been around for a little while, and helps when the band is a bunch of pros, I call them, right? Because it's got all the best setups, and they know what they're trying to do, and it's kind of, so for people that haven't been there, the way I would describe it, familiar with First Avenue, it's like 50% of First Avenue.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of the same configuration around the top, but it's 800 capacity or something like that. So about half of what First Avenue is, same dimensions, but you get that 2 stories high, you get the high ceiling, and it was a great setup.
Before we wrap this up, one of the major parts of the weekend, and I know it gets a little bit of romper room, but it's like, who'd you guys hang with? You know, I mean, who from the scene was there? Because that's everything when it comes to these residencies.
Oh, Rachel had her birthday. I'm sorry I didn't get to hang out with her more on her birthday, but I know her birthday got called out by Craig from stage, so that's good enough. That's great. I mean, I don't think she needs me. She had Craig calling out her birthday from stage. I was hanging out with the usuals. I was great to see Beth after she missed Massive Nights, hanging out with Kat, David, of course, and everybody else. Buddy, saw Buddy and everybody else, and
nice. I saw Mike Launcher missed the show.
When you miss him because he's such a big guy, and he's always such a big presence. So when he's not there, it does change the room up a lot. Yeah.
How about you, Mark? Who was your crew at the show?
Yeah, so the Woo Crew bunch. We really missed Big Mike, and also Nashville Kenny. Kenny got tickets to the Kentucky Derby. So he wound up, and so it's like he's like it's a once in a lifetime thing, or it's not easy to do. So but otherwise, Amy was there, Lacey, of course, Allison, Buddy, and it was really happy to see Mike. I turned around Friday night. There's Mike showing up for his one-off. It's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, me and Mark, we live like not that maybe 10 minutes from each other, and we only see each other in different time zones. I tell him this all the time. We hug each other in different time zones, but never in the same. We never go out for a beer or coffee. He keeps ducking me, but
Awesome. Did you guys do pub quiz?
Yeah.
I did not.
No, I think Bobby won, and I don't know who hosted it. I didn't hear.
I thought I saw Tad won.
Yeah,
or Tad.
I think it was that.
Was it Tad? Yeah, maybe you're right.
Tad.
Maybe
he said on stage, "I got a lot of help," which I thought was cool. So this was a little different for me. As I mentioned, my son is out there. He went to school in Boston, and of course, I grew up in Denali, went to school in Massachusetts. So I tell these lines fit in, but so I was just basically at the shows and then back out. I was pushing the envelope, doing the 2 shows with 2 nights. But we did, before we went, put together the Wuku shirts, and then Mike has got for the show, my bride, Susan, put together the Revere the Hold Steady and Boston 26 t-shirt for the crew. And so everybody got one. And Gasper, I mentioned I brought one for you and didn't see you. But
awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're using that as our cover art.
It's a cover art. You can see it on our cover.
It was very surprising for me to see Gasper not choose a Hold Steady weekend. I guess travel.
Well, unfortunately, so I had family obligations. My nephew was receiving his first communion, and I knew there was no way I was not going to be there for that. So I had to choose, and because I was all set to well, maybe I can go down for one show, but it's like I'm in a new job.
You just better make sure that kid goes to church every Sunday for the rest of his life.
He better.
Because he's not getting communion for the rest of his breathing existence, and you missed a Hold Steady show.
I know. And then I had sugar the Sunday night, so it was just it just didn't work out all around. But I will be in Chicago. You go to Chicago, Mark?
I am.
Awesome.
See you at Empty Bottle, the COVID spreader location. Yep. Last time we were there.
I got to tell you, I'm so excited to see a show there. I've seen the clips. That early on, there was a shirt that someone put out for the Empty Bottle. It might have even been the band that put out the shirt. And I think it's just the front of the empty bottle on the shirt with the Hold Steady logo on it. And it's one of my favorite Hold Steady t-shirts. I wore it to death, and it's gone now. But I'm so psyched to see them at the Empty Bottle. It's going to be a great show.
Let's hope we get beautiful weather for Skalstad.
Flagellants can be bad there.
Yeah. It's outdoors too, so we need the beautiful weather.
And Titus was warming up. And Mike, if you want to see me in our time zone, go to Titus at Turf Club on Wednesday. I'll be there. Ooh. And then we're going to follow him down I-94 to I-90 to Chicago. So
awesome.
Well, and Bully's opening up, and she's from a little 3rd-tier suburb called Rosemont, the same suburb I'm talking to from right now. And she's amazing. She's like a Courtney Love voice, but with really kind of a poppy grunge sound to her. And she's amazing, Bully.
Right.
So
it'll be different.
You guys will have a great time in Chicago. Yeah. Salt Shed's a great room.
Hey, Kev, you can still come.
No. Word on the street. I have a hookup if I want to go now, but we'll see. Chicago's far.
Oh, before we wrap up, guys, I did a quick interview. We had Killian. You guys might remember him. He kind of looks like a young. Can I say he looks like a young Anthony Kiedis from Point Break, since Tad said that reference on a couple episodes ago. But Killian, he's kind of got the braids, and Craig pointed him out at Massive Nights and said he's the MVP because he has a great infectious way he dances, and he's just got a great attitude. But he asked a question at Storytellers, and I asked him about his question. So let's see if I can play that for you guys here. It's about a minute long.
Okay. Hi. What's your name and where are you from?
Killian from New Haven, Connecticut.
And now you asked a question. You had a really interesting way. You're a little younger than the rest of us. How did you get into the Hold Steady?
I first heard the Hold Steady in the Major League Baseball 2K8 soundtrack. Stuck between stations. was the song in the soundtrack, and I loved it from the jump, and not so long after that, playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater was the second Hold Steady song I've ever heard, which is My Little Hoodrat Friend, and that spurred my at that point, hearing 2 songs that great, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a band that I love. So I was 11 years old, and so very grateful that it found me at such a young age.
Awesome. What song are you hoping to hear tonight?
Oh, tonight, we heard a lot that I love last night, including Carlos is Crying on Pleasant Breakfast. Tonight, I'm really hoping to hear City at 11. I love that song. I love City at 11. And
cut.
It's a deep cut. Yes. So I'm hoping they'll pull it out for the Sinclair stay.
All right, Gilly. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's pretty amazing.
Did he say he was 11 when he discovered the whole study?
And he wanted to hit City at 11, so it seems like he was in a big 11 mode at that point. So, you know.
It's wild how there's that contingent of especially the younger fans that they get into the band from video game soundtracks. Like, I don't think I could say I've ever gotten into a band because I heard a song on a video game soundtrack. Hurricane Jess, that's her story, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and somebody asked him at the sound check, are they looking to do more video games? And Craig gave his answer. He's like, we're open for business. Yeah. So.
Well, it sounds like it was an amazing weekend, and I regret not being there. But I'm glad you guys had a great time, and I'm looking forward to Chicago.
I'm glad you got a hotel room too, Mike, because I was very worried you were going to just be sleeping on a park bench or like in the airport. Like when we originally talked about you going, you're like, I don't have a hotel, and I'm just going to freeload it and see what happens. And somebody wants to buy me a Coke, go right ahead. Yeah, and I was like, this is not going to end well.
Tramps like Mike.
I didn't have to go to that all-night rave. I didn't have to go to the bench that Goodwill Hunting was filmed on. Yeah, I didn't have to sleep there.
All right. Well, this is a lot of fun, man.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks for including me, and great to meet you, Kevin.
Yeah,
nice to meet you too.
Thanks for coming on, man, and please come back anytime.
You being on. It's usually what happens once people kind of break the seal on this show. You kind of always find a way. We'll rope you back into it. That's what happened to me. So go figure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Kevin's been the longest temporary replacement.
Yeah.
It's going on 4 years.
All right, man. Thanks for doing this, Mark.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mark.
So we're out
Thanks for doing it, man.
Santa, listen from the sickle while you're shrieking and fighting. Hey, Austin, that nice and she get pretty annoying.
This town's full of bad takes and even worse movies.
That's why I listen to the Or Is It Movie Podcast. They don't just watch their movies, they question them. Plot holes, twists, truths, lies. They find the real story behind the story.
Sounds like trouble.
Yeah, the good kind.
The Or Is It Movie Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Thanks, Mark, from Minneapolis, for hanging out with us. It was great to meet you. I knew you knew Gasper and Mike, but I enjoyed the conversation. And like all of our conversations, we do this because you guys check it out. We appreciate you listening. So if you like what we do, give us a like, give us a follow, tell a friend. The numbers are going up. We appreciate you. Tad will be on the next episode, so we need as many eardrums on that. If you guys have a question for Tad, send it in. And if you want to send it in, you can reach out to us in a variety of ways. Send Mike a speak pipe. If you send Mike a speak pipe with a question for Tad, we might do like Tad Q&A. Could be something fun. So get into that. But Gasper, why don't you tell them where they could find us?
Sure. So the best jumping off point for all things Hoodrat Recap is our link tree, which is linktr.ee/thehoodratrrecap. Or you can check us out on our website, which is www.thehoodratrecap.com. And Mike, if they do want to find that speak pipe, if they do want to leave you that message, how would they do that?
So on these every show notes, I leave a link. Click the link, speak into your phone for 90 seconds. That's how you lead a speak pipe.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. I'm Gasper. That's Kevin. That's Mike. And that was Mark from Minneapolis. And us guys and all you guys and gals. We are all the Hoodrat Recap.
I had some bad chata.
what's her name played? Ezra Furman.
It was Thursday, I think, or was it?
That was Thursday. Chill out.
Thursday
10,
with
she's
Chill
saying
Out
it
10,
wasn't
yeah.
party
Chill
pit.
Out 10.
I'm so
Because that's where the girl voice
All right,
comes
so
in.
I'll be editing that out because I totally had.
No. I like when you flub. Way to go, Mark. Remember that moment that never happened, but I was sure that happened. That's what happens on this podcast all the time.
Sorry, I didn't mean to break up the flow there.
No, way to.
This was a production by Secret Suburb Studio.